Here we go. My gosh, I'd be nervous if I wasn't so thoroughly shot by all of this. My gosh, I'd be nervous if I wasn't so thoroughly. All right, I've got that muted. And you guys can do the chat if you like in there and the YouTube as well. Good. Fine then. Back to what I was saying. So, the place that we've made it is one, let's say the the journey to this place where we find ourselves has been wrought with anguish, misery, a lot of breakthroughs along the way, which has been wonderful, but it's not like we're making advanced oscillators from the MACD here. We're making basically all of the innards of what would be the platform of the next millennia when I'm all said and done. But yeah, it's not exactly, it sounded a little arrogant, but it's not exactly super easy stuff to work on and to make work. So it's been a bit of a struggle, and it's quite difficult to meet deadlines that I set for myself, which are retarded. I don't know why I feel like I have to do that. Well, for one thing, to at least have a deadline and just count on never making them, I guess. So, long story short, it's been a rough road. I thought we would have been here 2 years ago, but I can finally say that, and I've said this the last couple of times, but the fact of the matter is today, with what we have now, I'm finally ready to release what I consider a completed, uh, group of software, suite of apps, add-ons for NinjaTrader 8 platform. But what's lacking? You know quite well what's lacking. It would be very detailed and organized user guides and training. But that is coming. It's on its way. One thing I've been trying to do is simplify at least a little bit to some degree. And I made these workspaces here for a member, part of the TTP family. And I did that last Sunday. And I think it's what you guys have been after. The only problem is we've been unable to make the workspaces as such for all the bugs that came along with it. And now the only bug that's left has to do with Bloodhound on the chart. If there's Bloodhound on a tab chart and you slide it, try to move it, it'll delete that chart and then throw an error that essentially just wrecks Ninja until you restart. So, all right, what I'm going to do now, since I have added these workspaces, these that I'm calling 5 charts, or it's really 5 windows. One window has 7 charts and another one has 2. So you'll see what I'm talking about as we go through this. So I'm going to open all of these. In fact, not all of them, but these. Where's ZB? It's not showing up in there, is it? I need to reload it. So this is our latest Ninja Manager for Ninja 8. And one thing that it does that I wish it wouldn't have done, and I've talked to him about this because I knew it would be a problem, especially for those at Ninja Trader, is to handle the pop-up messages. So anytime there's a rollover or Ninja's doing any sort of announcement about, some sale they're having or whatnot, all of those pop-up messages stop this dead in its tracks. So what I wanted to do was be able to copy them, and if we were using auto hotkey or auto it or something like that, we could easily do it. But we could also easily do it if we knew what those pop-up messages were named or tagged. But I think what's happened is either to handle this new Windows 10 update, which has recently been being rolled out, something has changed and we can no longer access those pop-up windows properly. So that's the only time where this is going to fail. And until I can get with them and work something out to where we can at least copy the message and paste a screenshot of it here, or just open up the website directly, automatically, that's linked within that message, I think it's going to be closed to us purposefully, on purpose, as it were. So let's see, I'm going to open up all of these and just watch how it does it. In order, because we're using Bloodhound from Shark Indicators, which is a tool to build out a series of conditions that you've combined to help identify a setup, a trade setup, or something. Maybe all of the conditions that must come together before you can begin looking for a setup, however you use it. We're using those Bloodhound templates extensively with our reader system. And in order for all of that to work properly, every single chart within the workspace must be brought into view, must be made in focus, fully initialized, before we can gather the data from it. But if there's incoming data, as there is now, you'll see that you don't actually have to cycle through all of the charts, because that's what I was going to say next is Ninja Manager does all that for you, but it cannot cycle through a set of charts within the same frame. It can cycle through tab charts within a frame of charts, if you see what I mean. Steve, is there even a new one today? Or that's what you're just saying? That's what I'm talking about? Yeah. All those little pop-up messages. Yeah. So let me just save this as, I don't know, demo. You can save your layouts here as well. This thing is just awesome. This is my favorite. It keeps you from messing up how Ninja starts. Because if you're letting it start up and then you start, moving over to a web page and you're typing and moving stuff around, whatever, you're moving charts around as they're opening, you're just asking for trouble. It's going to probably just close on you. And then you're going to be frustrated. If you'll use this and let it finish, and you'll know it's finished by the pop-up message at the end, then your life will be a lot less stressful. You'll break a lot fewer keyboards and mice, and it'll just be peachy. So don't touch anything while this is opening. And I'm going to mute this for a moment. Get my glass of water. I'll be right back while this is opening. So just watch how it opens up. It's actually opening these on another window. It's weird. Another screen. Okay, this now it's opened them properly. Okay. He must not have, or this might be my original one for the ES that opened up on that other screen. But yeah, it's working now. All right, I'll be right back. Okay, it should be close to being done. I think NASDAQ. Yeah, I think ZB follows NASDAQ. Let's see. Yeah, now it's opening a new one. ZB, yep. You see how it's combining them? So that is a setting. Show all windows. We've built our own Ninja window manager because so few window managers actually work with the NinjaTrader windows. And I think it has something to do with the fact that they've combined the title bar with the tool strip bar. You know how most windows have this title bar, right? In Windows 10, well, I guess all Windows. Well, that's the only thing different that I can tell that would make other window managers not work so well with it or not work with it at all. And then I found a couple that will. One is really advanced. Well, there's actually three. One is um, created by NVIDIA, and it's for the new Quadro uh, graphics cards, for the Quadro graphics cards. So this is, and it's not letting me move it, and I wonder why. So this is what you'll see because my cursor was over here on the right screen. This is what you'll see at the end. Proceed. It should say something else clearly, but I'm not able to move that, am I? Nope. So it's either click on it and then it will take you to the web page associated with whatever little quote unquote ad we're showing there, and we're just cycling through what indicators we have. And there's the time frame tuner. Click on that, it takes you to the time frame tuner webpage, or you click proceed to start using NinjaTrader, which is what we're going to do now. So I started to say that you can see how all of these workspaces are now combined. They're not combined into one workspace. They're combined such that you can see all of the windows that are within each of these workspaces. You can see them all at the same time. The way Ninja handles workspaces is such that it's more of just a matter of hiding different sections of charts depending upon the name of the workspace. So when you're flipping back and forth from workspace to workspace, all you're doing is showing or hiding a certain set of workspaces. So right now, if I were to use the hotkey that I've got set up to flip workspaces, then it'll show only one. Hang on a second. No, it's not going to do that until you've made it back through the very first one, which was the ES. So now that I've done that, let's see. NASDAQ. Yeah, you've got to make it through all of them first. Yep. Okay. Because they're all combined. So you'll have to cycle back through every single one of them if you want to separate them out and use them that way. But what we've done is create this window manager, and you can add as many presets as you want. You could have, a couple of hundred if you wanted, but I just start off with 8. And just really quickly, it's this setting right here, show all windows, that you click on. The top 3 here act as like bools, true or false. So when you click on it, it just performs an action. So I'll click on it and it'll show all the windows from all of the workspaces. And then I can take those windows from all those workspaces and move them around and then save the layout, and then move them around again and save a different layout, and do that until I fill up all 8 of these buttons here. And I can flip back and forth between them. So one of the main issues that people had before is that I had all of the individual instruments separated out into their own unique workspace. Whereas now, that's still true, but you can combine them all. And it doesn't matter if you're switching back and forth from the complex workspace that has all of the charts separated out, or this workspace. And just to show you, let me give you a for instance. Let's say gold. Here's gold. All right, so There's chart number 1. And I've got this Snap It program working. $5 from the Microsoft, sorry, $5 from the Microsoft store. There are the 2 tick charts here. It's one of the few window managers, outside of the one that I'm talking about that we built specifically for the charts. It's one of the few window managers that works with Ninja 8 windows. There's row 1. Row 2. So it should really say 6, because where is the row 1? Right here. Yeah, it should be 6 windows. I don't know why we said 5. Yeah, it's 5. What am I talking about? I'm getting weird on you guys. Sorry. All right. So for this Snap It program, for $5, buggy as it may be, which I'm sure he'll sort those out, you can't beat it for $5. It's called Snap It, and it's only available in the Windows Store. So only available in the Windows Store, which is this one right here. Engine Kirmatki from the Czech Republic, I guess. Sounds like a Czech. Pretty cool little deal, though. It works with any window I've tested it with. The other one is quite a bit more difficult to work with, and it's the Stack Window Manager. You would be able to do more automation with this, but yeah, it's a little bit tricky. All right, so enough of that. This is the layout that we want to save. So you'll notice I have slimmed these down a little bit. They don't have all of the troubleshooting indicators at the top. Oh, well, this one does. See, this is why I need to go through them one last time. Probably just applied a different template for it when I made the first one. No, I'm pretty sure ES is not going to look like that. But anyway, this is going to have the fewest number of resources possible in use while you're trading. So you probably could, whereas before I would say don't try to use more than 3 full workspaces, because they have so many different charts each workspace. With these, you would probably get away with 6 or 7, if not more. It's more of a matter of what you have in view and what's having to be redrawn. So if you have a lot of workspaces kind of running in the background, or a lot of charts running in the background that aren't visible, well, then Ninja doesn't have to redraw them, and therefore all of that chart rendering, which is like 80% or 90% of all the resources that are used, aren't having to be used. Todd is asking, what does the Snap It program do? So the Snap It allows me to quickly arrange these windows initially. Whereas if I were doing this manually, I would have to drag it into the corner, And you would say, no, you don't have to do that. You can just hold down the window key and then arrow left and up, right? Well, unfortunately, when you do that and then you maximize it and then you restore it, it doesn't restore properly. See? But when you use snap it and then you just double click on it to maximize it, double click on it to restore it. You see? It just makes it so much easier to work with. This is the easiest. Everything that I'm doing as far as the toolbar, market geometry, all of this analysis that I do on my charts every morning is designed to save you as much time as possible, because there are so many trades that I've missed where I'm literally like 6, 7 seconds late and it's already moved about 20 ticks. And to get in at that point is to make my risk to reward so diminished that it would be foolish to jump into it. Even though if I would have jumped into it, it likely would have just kept on going. But if I were wrong, then I would have been extremely wrong. And in order to stay in that trade and give it enough room to move around, the stop still has to be in the same spot, which is behind the area where I'm expecting the reversal. That makes sense. If you're brand new to this, that's probably not going to make much sense, but anyway, all of this is designed to make performing the analysis as quickly and efficiently as possible. All right, so now that I've got this this layout saved, this gray chart right here, this is the chart that I would normally have Blackbird on. So let's just add it just so you can see how it's going to work. And I'll set it to on each tick. You don't want to set the toolbar to on each tick. I've seen people do that thinking that they're saving some resources, and maybe they are, but then they draw a volume profile on it. And if you draw a volume profile that's set to on each tick, well, it's not recording all of the volume, is it? I'm sorry, if you set it to on price change, you don't want to set the toolbar to on price change like I'm setting Blackbird here now, which means it's only going to calculate when price changes, in this case from 2 to 1 or from 0.2 to 3, 0.2 to 1 or 0.2 to 3. That's when it'll calculate. If it's set to calculate on each tick, we can have multiple ticks occur at the same exact price. Like it can keep hitting the bid over and over and over, or keep hitting the ask over and over and over, and it'll calculate each and every time. Anything to do with volume has to be run if you want volume profile signals or intrabar, any kind of volume signal has to be run on each tick. So that's just a little aside there, which I tend to have millions of those, unfortunately. All right, I'm enabling it now without the file in here. That seems to be the safest way to avoid any sort of issue. And then I'll add gold. We might have a trade set up here in a minute, so I'm gonna go ahead and get ready for it. I think I'm going to, if I have enough time before it gets too late, I'll make a one contract Blackbird template for, well, no, I'm not going to do that because the thing that I'm doing next, which will hopefully occur by the middle of next week, this week, today's Sunday, um, is I'm going to have for each of the main contracts that we look at or that I make workspaces for, I'm going to have a Bloodhound template that'll work with, it'll work by using the main underlying instrument, the big contract for the analysis, the volume signals, the divergence signals, whatever. And then you'll actually enter on the micro contract. I've talked to too many people recently that are calling me up, just singing the blues, crying and threatening suicide and all kind of stuff. Wife's left, kids have left, they've lost everything. It's just a horrible conversation to have, and it's the least understood. And yet I don't know why we are the way that we are, but a lot of us unfortunately are like this. We have to go through pain and misery before we fully grasp the gravity of what it is that we're doing with this and how easy it is to lose everything you own. So, let it be known, I don't have a disclaimer up, although I should have one, but I'm going to tell it to you right now. You should definitely not be trading unless you have what's called risk capital. If you don't have more than enough money to support you and your family, even through a recession, even if you've lost your job, whatever, if you don't have a stockpile of money saved up and then some, then you don't have risk capital and you should never even think about trading a live account. You can start learning and you can start trading a sim account, but please don't put money at risk. Prime example, Bo, who's worked with us a little bit in the past and helped with some of the analysis, he did what all of us do with, although advice to the contrary, nobody listens to that advice when they first start off trading because just like me, we all know everything when we get into something, right? So who's going to listen when somebody tells you to, hey, stop trading live, you're going to lose it all. You need to trade in sim and triple that account or at least double it. Prove that what you're using is worthy, that can actually make money before you ever actually risk a real dollar. So I think he blew an account right off the bat within the first several months. And then he traded in sim for like 6 years until he completely proved that what he was doing, the methods that using, what I've taught, all the tools that we have, but adding his own style to it, which is what most of y'all do anyway, until he proved that that could make consistent returns or that he could make consistent returns using that. He never risked another live dollar. And now in the past 6 months, he's taken 10 grand to 20. And I can say that, you don't have to believe it. I can't show it to you. So you may as well not believe it. But that's what I want to hear from you guys rather than, hey, man, I've just lost everything. I'm thinking about killing myself. I'd much rather hear, hey, I listened to you. I stopped trading live. I've been trading sim for 6 months. I'm kicking ass. I'm thinking about going live. What are your thoughts? And then I'll sit down with you. We'll go over your strategy. I'll go through some of your trades and we'll try to figure out whether or not you're ready and whether or not you have enough money to even be thinking about it. Okay. I know that was a long, whatever you call those, disclaimer, but man, I get more and more calls like that every day, to the point where I've had to turn my phone off. All right, so watch me now. I've got the charts arranged where on this chart, I'm using the min 1. There's the min 2, min 3. And it doesn't mean a 2-minute chart or a 1-minute chart. It's the flow of the charts and the spacing between them. So min 1 is the starting point, which is the 2-minute chart. I'd show you the spreadsheet, but I don't want to get into all that. This is more about analysis than it is about the method, but here I go explaining the method. But again, like I said earlier, I want this to be a little bit of both. So I go from 2 to 5 to 10, 15. If there is an RTH session, let's see if he got the right one on here. Yep, nice. Some commodities we don't use RT. Well, like for the 6E, there's not really an RTH session that's valuable, but then the 30-minute, and then hourly, and a weird 138-minute, which divides in an equal. How many bars is that? 7 bars per session, something like that. Let me let this cat in before he busts the door down. Gracious, Charlie, you sound like a giant. All right. Hello, Charles. Good boy. I love you, Charles. All right. Sorry, a GC 15-minute RTH is not even. I don't know what you're saying. Not even what? You mean because it opens at 7:20? Yeah, that doesn't matter. I'm saying that's why I chose this 138-minute chart for all of the instruments that are on the CME, COMEX, or NYMEX that all typically have a similar ETH open. So I'm not really worried about whether a smaller chart, whether the last bar of the day has 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 15 or 20 or whatever. Only this 138-minute is the one that I care about having an equal number of bars. These really don't even matter. So, and can anybody answer me why it wouldn't matter? Because we use what type of volume? Relative volume? Mm-hmm. So because we use the relative volume, no matter what time that last bar has, which is 10 minutes, it's only going to be compared to that bar every day, which has 10 minutes. So it's not going to be compared to a 15-minute bar. Talking about the height of it, the actual relative value of it. So it's always going to be compared to the bar that closes at 12:30 every day for the past X number of days. You see? So it really doesn't even matter. But the big one, I did want to divide up evenly. I've tested it pretty thoroughly. It doesn't really seem to make much of a difference at all. Some people were worried that it would skew the market geometry or something, but if it's the same number of bars every session, then it can't be skewed because each session will have the same number of bars. Now, if you had one session with one bar more than the previous, and then the next was one bar less, and it went back and forth like that, then yeah, over time it would skew the value of the market geometry, and you would start to see a lot of missed areas. But that's just not the case with what we're doing. For one thing, we're ending the session. We're breaking it at the end of the day, and we're starting a new bar. With the RTH session, it does that kind of automatically anyhow. But all right, so let's get back to this. So what I can do now with the window manager, which you guys cannot do at the moment, is I can save a layout. Let me back this up first. What date is that? 6/20. All right, I'm going to export these to 888. All right, we're all good. I wonder when I did that, the 21st. Well, I'll delete that. All right. So what you'll see me do now is save this layout. Perfect. And see, this is so amazing how we do this now. Just real quick, rather than the previous licensing system, which was a total nightmare, one key per indicator. Now, oh, look at that. My lovely little image is gone. Oh, I didn't bring it over. Okay. I thought it might remove that .ico image. But anyhow, it should show a little TTP logo there. And then you'll have this reader manager authorization interface. And all you have to do is type in your email that you log into the website with, and it determines what you have access to, and then it will allow you to activate whichever tools that you own. Eventually, we'll have a way for you to handle your own activations and deactivations once we know that you're a valued member of the TTP family, but it's not something we'll give you access to right away. So eventually it'll be, even easier to move from one computer to the next, but we'll have to kind of get to know you a little bit first, I think. But see, it's showing as not installed for me because I don't have the DLLs. I've got the code. So now onward and upward. I'm going to save this. It's handling charts. I can make it handle any of the NT8 windows. I can even make it handle these toolbar windows. And for those of you that are being exposed to this toolbar for the first time right now, and it is like, what the hell is that? It is I don't know, a work of art or a work of a madman. It's something. It's quite extraordinary to say the least, but it's I guess it's all in the eye of the beholder, but in my opinion, it's the single most effective analysis tool the world has ever seen. And it's all tied together in this little toolbar right here. And now I just need to do one more little button, export. I'm going to do one more window manager group. I'm going to save this as a template. I don't reckon we can save button group templates, but let's do this. We're going to add a lot of them. And I'm going to use, oh, I didn't bring over any of the templates. Watch this. This is how fast I can work with this thing. So if I want to save those templates, I'm just going to say window manager 1. I hear you, Charlie. I know. Whoops. This is our hotkey manager. You have hotkeys for all of the individual buttons and the groups. Window manager 2. Window manager 3. It's just crazy, isn't it? How unprepared a man can be. No, I mean how cool these tools are. I wish you guys could have seen what I've had to go through with all this. Not the tools, the handling of my disaster that I call a life. Dealing with this computer problem. It's the single most frustrating issue that you ever have to deal with, because at the end of it, you've got nothing to show for it. You're literally back to square one. You're thankful that you are, but it took you 3 days to do it. And it's like, oh, so now I can work on stuff that matters. Oh, great. Thank you. It's nothing more frustrating to me than having to work on things that don't produce any results. All right, so I'm going to load these templates now. Look at that. One, what do I want to do? I want to click on load. You don't see it load, but watch. Boom. Now what? Template. Workspace Manager 2, load. Number 3, template. Workspace Manager 3, load. You have to hide them and show them to make it. One day we'll figure that out, but that's just the way that Ninja's UI works. You have to make a change and then move out of it and then move back to it to see that change go into effect. So this is number 4. So I select number 4, load. All right, number 5, real quick, almost done. Isn't it cool though that we can even do this? 6, load. 7, load. Oh, delete this one, select it, delete. Select that one and delete. Done. So I've got a totally other set, which we'll use. Then I can even swap this image out. Let's say that I'll use, oh, I don't know. Window manager. Oh. I wonder why those don't show up. It seems like some sluggish memory. Very odd. Well, at any rate, I'm going to do this one right here. And then I'm going to get rid of this border, set it to 0, if it can even take a 0. Yep, there we go. All right, so I'm going to save this as number 1. So to save it, just click right here to save. All right, then this, which is the 5 minute, it also saves the position of the bars, the spacing between the bars. So let's say that I want to now, let me think about another way that I would want to use this. I reckon I'd always want to have that. But maybe I'd put the reader manager right there, just so I make sure that everything is, up and right and showing. So I'll save that, which means I need to add now the reader manager as a saved window. And this hide minimized handled windows will make it so that you'll see in a second when I go back and click on one of these buttons that has hidden windows that have been handled, which you'll see now. So I click it, boom, it's saved. Now I go back to 1, watch. When I hover over NT8, oh, it's already working. You're only seeing just those windows. All right, and then I go back to 1. It's back on the min 1. See? But now let's go to show all of the windows, and they are all over the place. Now when I hover, I can see them all, you see? Which is like a giant mess. So I'm going to go through and delete these super domes, which I need to do anyway. Don't really need 1,000 alert log windows either, but I'll leave that up to you guys. Okay. So now, looks like we have a short and crude setting up. Good thing I got out. I want to go back to 2. And there's my little reader manager. It's on min 2 now, right? And now I can just see these. For some reason, it's not showing me the chart when they're not in a full corner. So it'll only show me the graphic of, there it goes. Now it's doing it. I wonder what in the world's going on there. I think it's something with my graphics cards. They're a little funny. Plus they just got updated. All right. So now I'm going to save another layout. We'll go to 3 and 2. We're going to get rid of this one. We're going to bring this one down using Snap It. I'll zoom in here a little bit. See more bars. Yeah, we're in for a long here directly, I think. Look at that. Yeah. All right, I'll save this as 3. So I could even have one set of window managers per market, and I could name that whatever. Actually, he's not letting me name that. Okay, I got to talk to him about that. There's supposed to be a name thing here. Okay. The other just general groups. So you can have multiple different groups. You can have a group that's made up of whatever set of buttons that you want. You can name those groups whatever you want. Okay. Let me just try something else here. I'm going to get a general group. It's my own tool, and I barely know all the ins and outs of it. It's crazy. So I click on it. It's just such a massive beast. And yeah, we don't have window manager available, but we should have. I don't see why not. He says it's because it's kind of a deep internal, kind of needs to be all on its own because it performs a lot of special functions. But anyhow, let's see. With these, you right click on the actual button and you've got the name of it, the group label here. Maybe that's what I was doing wrong. Yeah, duh. So I can name that. Just right click on the button, window manager. So I'll say, unbelievable. This is the way I talk when I'm on the spot and I'm unprepared. Window manager for gold. See, I can go further than that. I can just go ahead and do it a proper window manager for GC. See? And eventually we'll have some settings for the text. You can already take the buttons and make them bigger. See? And you can even add the distance between the buttons like so. But it won't happen for the groups until you click on it and they reappear. But we don't have a setting yet for that text, but that's that's like the polishing, finishing steps type deal. So we're not really, all that interested in wasting time on the looks of it when the most important part is making sure the functionality is 100%. Just trying to figure out where that green color is coming from. It's inherited. I don't know why it's inherited from where. Where's green anywhere? But anyhow, so yeah, this is just such an amazing tool. I'm going to do this now. We're going to look at only those charts that I would do market geometry analysis on. So right now we have group one, which is the tick one down here in the bottom. Let me get my little deal out here, annotate. Tick one, min one, Blackbird. I'll show you how Blackbird works in a moment. Row two, row one, which is where the confirmation signals will come in. And I reckon you'll see some of that before we close here because I'm about to take a trade. I'm going to go ahead and slim this back down. Maybe make it a little bit bigger. Okay. The Z order determines whether you're drawing behind the bars or on top of them. Selection threshold dot. I'm not going to try to get into all that. This snap the panel to the snap panel hotkeys to snap the panel underneath your cursor. So show you this one. So I can hide it. Yep. And then I can bring it back right underneath my cursor. See? And then I can bring that market geometry button group directly underneath my cursor just by using a hotkey. So I got a fancy mouse with a bunch of buttons, a lot of hotkeys, right? Well, let's say that now that I've got everything set up the way that I want it, and I just want to focus on the market geometry, I'm going to minimize these for a moment. Well, let's see what we have. We have 3 stored, and we have 4 more that we can save. That's 1, min 1, 2, that's min 2, and just reader manager just to make sure everything's okay. Let's recalculate anyhow. Give that a minute because it's got 6, 7 markets to go through. And it's still super fast. It's crazy. It's all fully automatic now. No idea how we finally got this to work, but it took a lot of effort. Okay, it says 1 is not okay. But I know why. It's because it's hidden. But let's just see which one it is anyhow. So if I click on the status, it'll bring the one that's not okay to the top. But you're talking about 600 and something readers that it's got to cycle through. Nope, I think that was a false alarm. There it is. It's still waiting. Row 2. I'm gonna fix this real fast. That's something I have to do before I send these out anyway. And now we go to crude. Hello, Charlie. Good boy. There's row 2. Good boy, Charlie. I hear you, buddy. All right, just gonna cycle through these real quick. One thing that I think is so important, I wish they would do this by default. If you guys have ever deleted a chart by accident, just change this one setting. It'll make your life so much easier. Go to Tools, Options, and confirm on window or tab close. Make sure that's checked. I really think it should be checked by default. I don't know why they wouldn't do that. But yeah, make sure that it's checked by default. And then if you're going to do the analysis live that we're going to be releasing on the 20th, you'll want to use kinetic data, and you'll set it to merge non-back adjust the front month contracts, and then the continuous contracts will be back adjusted. We might do it the other way around, but because data is the most important info that we have, I may just require that people have kinetic to sign up for the service. And if that's the case, then we'll end up using continuous charts for the vast majority of the charts. All of the charts that we run relative volume on will use continuous contracts, and then we'll trade from the front month contracts, and then there'll literally be no need to do rollover all the time. You'll just roll over a couple of charts when the time comes. If that didn't make sense to you, there's a free guide in the members area on data and data feeds. And if you read that, it's like reading, I don't know, it's like reading James Joyce or something. It'll put you right to bed. None of it will make any sense. It's actually pretty thorough, though. I can't say that every single bit of it is true for Ninja 8, but the vast majority of it is surely true. All right, I'm going to go ahead and save the last couple of ones for crude here. I'm going to save this for crude. What is that, number 7 or 6? 6, and then 7 will be, see, I've already got the short signals up there, which is the main reason I got out. So I'm going to put this one over here, and I'm acting as if I've got literally one monitor to trade from, which unfortunately some of you guys, that's the case for you, which I don't know how in the world you do that, but I guess kudos to you for being able to do that, because I can't do it. And then I'm going to save tick 2, zoom in a little bit, and min 4. Like so, as number 6. Boom. Okay, so now if I go back to 1, see how fast that does? Goodness gracious. I'm going to minimize this and then resave it, which means that it needs to handle that one, that reader manager. So I click it and set it, click OK, and then I save it. All right, now number 2, which does handle the reader manager. Okay, number 3, which did a bunch of crazy stuff with some of the other contracts. So we're going to resave number 3. All right, I'm about to have to take this long here in a second. So I need to hurry up. Mm-hmm. Set that to min 4. It may take another hour and a half to set up, actually, but we'll see. It may already be in a downtrend, but that's what we're going to find out together. So that'll be number 3. Okay, so now 1. 2, 3. Oh, I gotta hide that one. Forgot about that. So let's resave it. Reader manager there. So we'll resave it. Okay, so now we have a 5 that's open. Let's do one window over here. I'll get to your questions here in a minute. I want to do one monitor with all of these together, all the big ones together for number 5. So I'm going to show everything, handle the reader manager, and then I just want to find all of the combined contracts. Here's the ES. It should be on its way up. Yeah. It's funny, I bought that and I got ticked out right here. But that should be going up into a third wave up now, if I'm right about what I'm thinking. So let me find all these big contracts. Here's the bond. Here is YM, although it's labeled the futures workspace. It's labeled the futures workspace because of the fact that you can change the instrument to whatever you want, and it'll change all of the charts. And all of the Bloodhound templates will still remain in action and working properly. So I named it futures, although the base is the YM. It just affords you the ability to change that contract to whatever you want. It's a universal workspace, basically. And if you wanted to make it not one, you could just uncheck it, change the name, and then I show you how to edit the XML file. I can show you how to do that in less than 5 minutes. I think Cedric just showed Ed how to do it on Friday, actually. I've got a couple of more here. I'm getting a potential long in gold right this second, but we're going to come back to that because I need to do what I set out to do, which was analysis. So I've got gold. I've got the YM. I've got the ES. Now I need crude oil, and I've got crude oil saved here. So how should I arrange these? Let's see, what all in fact do I have open? You know how we can tell that real fast, right? Via the control center. I have 6E, crude oil, ES, YM. How is it that I have gold open, but it's not showing here? NASDAQ, ZB. That's a little fishy, isn't it? How bizarre. Well, that just doesn't make any sense. I think I just found a bug in Ninja. Well, let's look at gold real quick anyhow. I'm going to save this like it is currently after having minimized all of these other charts. Here is the 6E, which I'll put with gold. And I'm going to put the ES with the YM. I'm going to put the ES with the NASDAQ. I'm going to put the YM with the bonds. And watch how easy this is going to be to work with now. It's just incredible. Aha, I see what's going on here. It is a misnaming of the ZB. Because they're All right. I've got one little thing to do real quick if you guys can bear with me. I mean, please give me a break. I have had the most miserable 3 days and the longest time. So for me to be unprepared today is, you know, to be expected. Believe it or not, I had been trying to get better. And then, Murphy, he can be a real bastard. Mm-hmm. Back up my toolbar real quick. All right, here's what I'm doing. Surprised you guys are still hanging around. I guess it's at least somewhat entertaining. At least we're finally about to do what it was I wrote that we would be doing. So I'm going to close these without saving them. And you can see it's actually not going to matter. I'm going to use this little guy. See what you look like, mister. This is the way our file explorer is going to look in one of the next Windows 10 updates. I'm not sure what UWP type of programming is, why it's better. I guess it unifies the way everything looks within Windows 10, and it gives a common UI for all Windows 10 apps. But I think there's some underlying sorcery going on inside of there. A little black magic as far as logging what you're doing, whether you want it to or not, type deal. Because as you can see, it's becoming more and more difficult to no 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 no. It's not what I wanted at all. Okay, you wankers, this is ridiculous. Well, if I had to vote on it right now, I'd say you lose. Negative 10 points. That's not fun at all. I probably just clicked the wrong button though, but you know, much rather blame Microsoft than me. If it's between me and Bill, it's definitely Bill. I'm scared to open all of those all at once like I did, like I've done in the past, because that is the easiest way for it to get little tiny chunks of missing data. When it opens with the Ninja Manager, it's literally opening one by one by one, each chart by chart by chart. And it's doing that to prevent some of those missing gaps in data, which most people don't even know what I'm talking about. But it's a bad thing to have missing data, clearly. It's certainly a bad thing. I have recorded this presentation, and you're not even going to have to rely on me to do an edit and all that, because here it is on YouTube, on the YouTube, right here. That sounded like not what I meant for it to sound like. I was trying to speak in a German accent. So forgive me if you thought it sounded funny, because it did sound funny, didn't it? It's not letting me paste in there. Why is it? How else do I share it then? I mean, this is the watch link. Surely. Temple. Hmm. Maybe I gotta share it like this. Yep. There you go. And see, I'm already messing up. I'm doing stuff while Ninja's trying to open, which is a big, big no-no. It's probably why I have that one that's not okay there. Give me a second. Let me just go kiss Katie. She just walked in the door. I'll be right back while this is opening. All right, pardon me for that. I had to be a taste tester there for a few minutes. She's cooking up a storm in there, as we say in the South. Cooking up a storm. Well, evidently I'm going to share this screen for a moment, but it's the screen that I have that's a wide screen up above so that I can basically keep all the windows separated. But evidently the window that tells you when it's finished, the Ninja Manager, it just goes to whatever screen your cursor's on. Excuse me. So I'm going to make it to where it's selectable. I suppose that's not necessary, but yeah. So proceed. And let's see. Yeah, there is a special for the 4th of July. You guys can't see these windows, I guess. But yeah, I'm doing a just gonna do a 20% off. I'm gonna do a 30% off until the end of next week. So what I want to do now, I'm gonna get that out, Joseph. And what I want to do soon, I've got a number of different apps that we'll all be using to communicate, vote on things, figure out. I'm going to let you guys kind of help structure some of the content we're going to be putting out so that I can get a perspective from new users. I think we have that pretty well covered with just Ed and Cedric and another guy, Adarimi, if I'm saying his name right, Bo, but some of you guys actually know how to teach and have been teachers, whereas I am more of a. I suppose I could be a good teacher if I would prepare far enough in advance and have a lot of content ready to go, but you know what I want to do is I want to have essentially a way for you, all of you that own the toolbar, to it's going to be like a contest as far as building multiple window manager layouts for different sets of screen combinations and screen sizes so that we can have some ready-made window manager group templates. And that's the thing that we'll add next to the toolbar in the not too distant future. And then whoever wins will get upgraded. So that's one of the things I want to do is provide people with a ready-made set of templates for the window manager. Where am I going with this presentation? Where are you going with this presentation? I'm going to the moon. All right, here's gold. See how I'm starting to get the signal here, but there's no way that I can get a proper signal on this Blackbird chart because I don't have any market geometry drawn. So what I'm going to show you now is some analysis for gold that will hopefully put us in a position where we can get into this next move up if that's what's about to be happening. I have to determine that first, of course. Where would you like me to go with it, Miss Ava? This is a show and tell as far as I'm concerned, with some analysis coming at you live now. This update will be available to you maybe not tonight. If it's not tonight, it'll be first thing in the morning. Figure it'll probably take me another 2 hours. All right, so let's do this. We're going to do number 3. And see now, using that Snap It program, I can double click on it on the title bar rather than trying to get perfectly on that restore and maximize and accidentally deleting the chart had I not set those settings to prevent the deletion. See if I click on it now. Oops. Oh no, I didn't mean to do that. Let's click no. See? Whereas by default, it would have automatically deleted it. So now comes the difficult part that's not so difficult anymore. And this is not plugged in. It was plugged in a second ago. What's going on? No way. 1 second. Unbelievable. Bear with me. I have to install a little program real fast. Because to not have hotkeys is to be thoroughly slow. There we are. There's that one. Oop. Yeah, don't mind me. Leave it will. I'm just trying to show you what you're about to have so that you can use it properly from one video at least. And then have some analysis ready and waiting for you, at least for those of you that are in the trading room. That volume has got to be low. All right. Mm-hmm. It's a shame people can't relate. It is that has happened to me. I guess you can't until you've actually gone through it. Just never imagined that I would be the brunt of a malicious attack. But unfortunately, whatever. I'm not going to sit here and bitch and moan about it anymore. I'm sick and tired of it. Sure would like to meet those people in charge of setting me as the victim. I'm sure I'm not the only one, but I'm definitely at least one. It's coming down right now into the perfect spot. If gold is about to go up, and I'm not convinced that it is, but it is in an uptrend quite clearly. And that is some significant push up out of the low. However, the thing with this is, well, it's a little bit misleading, I suppose you could say. And I'll show you why in a moment. That retracement up. Oh my gosh, look at that. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. No, I'd say that's quite clear. An A, ABC, up, and then it's at least a double three into that low. The only issue I have with it is that it could be an expanded flat. And this is where I lose most people. And people start laughing at me as if I'm some sort of fool. Unfortunately for them. But this is the issue that I'm facing right now, is that it's either one down and ABC for A, expanded flat, B, C for an expanded flat, and this is just a slow start to the third wave down. Or in fact, it's making, and this is why I would buy it and why I was thinking about buying it, or it's making a 1-2. That's 1, 2, and the 2 wave just happened just now, most likely. And then watch this. If this lower median line lines up with that perfectly, not perfectly, but I bet it does from right back here. Nope, not quite. All right, we got some room to think. I need to see this chart right here. Yeah, tell that to the people that call me up and call me an idiot. Daniel, I think you'd do a heck of a lot better than 100% a month if you just didn't use Elliott Wave. The issue is that when you use Elliott Wave, you're wrong all the time. You're always wrong. It's built into it. It's baked into it. But you're taking the trades that align with your analysis that you've been projecting, anticipating, and only those trades will you take. Let me just think about this for a moment, because that does look like a triangle, doesn't it? A, B, C, D, E, F, G. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and me. It's just not a very great position. All right, I'm sorry I'm doing this to you, but I am. Bye, y'all. Have a good one. Just kidding. I'm going to open up a weekly chart real quick. I'm going to reluctantly see. I've lost all my contracts. Well, I'm going to reluctantly use a continuous contract, but we'll do both. Mm-hmm. That's what I wonder. I've never seen their results. I don't think they would want to show them to me. I don't know why they joined the trading room if they already knew everything. You don't see me going out there and joining trading rooms. I'm all for continual education, but I'm certainly not for learning a bunch of nonsense. And it's tough to tell the difference. Unless you've been through the ringer, as we say, quite a number of times. I would say most of you guys, well, especially the ones that have been with us from the beginning, have bought 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different packages from various people touting themselves as gurus, and part of the in crowd that knows all the inside tricks from the market makers and the order flow guys. And then Rinkos became a fad and everybody jumped on that. I did too. Oh, I love me a Rinko bar. Sort of. Until, I could actually build these systems out and test them. And then I realized, oh, you can make a back test look any way you want it to. So, number one, don't trust anyone that shows you only backtest results. Especially if they're super positive. And if they're barely positive, it means they're probably showing you an honest back test. But that barely positive becomes barely below or sometimes way below break even by the time you're trading it live. I'd say we probably got one good long left, huh? Although you do have quite a bit of volume divergence into that high. I mean, to think that that is the high last week, that's probably unlikely. I don't know. It's a churn bar on the weekly using the raw volume, meaning the actual total number of contracts traded. That's it's not a great sign. It's already through that one. I was talking about going and breaking these highs, and if we tick those highs out, then this thing might be making a gigantic triangle if it reverses back down. But so I don't know this for sure, but I would imagine the Elliott wave aficionados would say that's a big 5 down. I mean, it is a pretty well perfect ending diagonal 5th wave. ABC 1, 2, 3. Now you go from 2 to 4, right? Yep, that's a big 1, 2, 3. Triangle 4. 1, 2. Yeah, that's right. 3, 4. Ending diagonal 5. So what we have here is a failure for me to communicate what my thoughts are to you in a way that you can understand without me beating it into you. It's a big 1. You can do whatever you want with this. I'm not going to argue about that. It's a 2, 3, 4, ending diagonal 5. Okay, it's either a wave down of a big wave 2, I mean a big wave 2, or it's a double 3, and that's the end of the correction, and we're going up. If I had to count it as an A, flat B, 5 waves down for C, it would be coming to an end now, but how would I count that the way up? My nomenclature is most definitely, probably, my nomenclature is probably wrong, but I'm just not getting a very easy, oh, I see what it is. Yep, it's an ending diagonal C wave. Yep, check this out. We've got our 1, 2, 3, 4. No, I think that's 1. ABC up for 1, 2, A, B, C for 3, A, B, C down for 4, A, B, C up for 5. So I think we're safe to take our long, which I probably already missed by taking too long, but that's a proper triangle. You don't have to count it as such. There are a couple of ways of counting this, but I think it makes the most sense as a triangle. I mean, this is something that we've been watching and calling for a triangle for like a couple of years, 2016, yeah. Just we're not expecting a C wave of that magnitude. But again, it's not exceedingly abnormal. Oh, and it's a perfect 161.8. I'm going to be trading long right back into that. Okay. Maybe not. Okay. Let me try something. I'm just going to measure back to this fourth wave and then up from the end of this triangle. Yeah, it puts it even lower. What if I go back to here? Oh, wow. That's exactly 61.8 of this wave down. So that is a pretty strong confluence zone there. All right, with that in mind, if the, I'm going to leave that one there at least. If this lines up with any degree, it's not too bad actually. All right, give me a minute here. I'm going to figure out exactly what I'm going to do. It seems to be a total flat. Rob, you in here touting your Renko bars again? Renko Schmenko. Nah, you're right though. That's the only way that I would use them for market structure, wave counting, just something to look and glance at. Just please don't put a bunch of oscillators on those things and expect to get good signals. Even moving averages. I mean, you're taking data, it's chaotic, and you're making it 100% random. But again, for wave counting and such, yeah, I'd say there's some value in that. I'm just trying to figure out if I'm right about this count and we're making a B wave up, should I expect one more long or should I not? I don't have a whole lot of anchor points to choose from We're throwing this one over now, but you can see how useful this one was, right? So this is the non-back adjusted contract. These are as close to the truly traded prices as we have. See that low there? You're not seriously recommending people go there, are you, Vadim? Goodness gracious, man. They're free at least, I guess, huh? Well, oh well. Shouldn't have done that. Nothing's free. That guy will swindle you right out of your money. That guy can swindle me out of my money, and I know better. It's nothing like a great marketer. They are a breed apart. And I'm definitely not in that class, obviously. What am I doing here? I'm just wasting time. All right. So I'm either going to take it or I'm not going to take it. The reason I wouldn't take it is because it's already hit some major areas. I'm just not sure about this whole triangle ordeal here. This is a B, C, 261.8. If that's a third wave of wave 3, even then we've got a long way down to come. All right, I'm going to do something very, very quickly. Just bear with me for a moment. This is what I've got to do to make sense of this, unfortunately. Let's put it into the RTH session, if they'll even let me do that with the daily data. I don't know that Kinetic will. I guess they will. By the way, this is a hodgepodge, in case you didn't notice. And if you don't know what a hodgepodge is, just come listen to me talk whenever I do a talk, and then you'll start to understand what it is. It's a hodgepodge. Story of my life. Nope, they don't let me do it. Wonder why. You gotta set it to a minute chart, and there's no way I'm gonna set it to a 1440 times 5 times 7. Yeah, whatever. All right, so we're either gonna take it or we're not, and that's all there is. If it's going back up, and I can safely say that this is a 1, 2, but see, then I got a possible 3 here. ABC down, ABC back up. What does that tell you? 5 down, right? If that's, let's go through this briefly. I can't do do anything briefly, so forget I even said that. But if this is a triangle, man, there's big buttons. I like big buttons in a camera. Then it doesn't start there. Then it starts here. Aha. 1, 2, 3, 4, 3. You know? I think I may have read this wrong. Well, that's what you get for spending 5 seconds on it. Sfibs will tell me. 161.8. So that's 3, 4, 5. I thought it was a truncated fifth. Fourth wave typically comes back to what? Frank, you're not the only one, buddy. The only way to learn is through a heck of a lot of reading, marking up at the charts, and comparing yours against someone else's. Preferably someone that knows what they're doing. So all I'm doing with the Elliott wave is making a roadmap and trying to build a case for one direction over the other. So should I be looking for longs or should I be looking for shorts? If I were looking purely at the charts, market geometry, I would have been long as of that current low right now, right here. Oh, just based on the way this looks right here, it's going to be hard to not go long. But it will have to come back down and tag that. It's a huge amount of relative volume coming in, but it's coming in mid-move. It's not coming in at the end of the move, although it's continuing into the end of the move. It's exacerbated by the fact that yesterday is the 4th of July. So, I mean, it looks bigger than it really is. And in fact, I'm not sure why we did it this way to make it easier. But each chart has its own holidays because it may not be a US market. So we put, we put our calendar days in here. Days that we want to eliminate from the relative calculations. Because it was a real pain trying to do that on a chart by chart basis. But we needed to have a system to where we could have multiple files, or at least a spreadsheet type thing. Maybe Vadim, you could help us with this. But being as you posted a link to my mortal turd, I don't know. You'll have to win back my confidence now. but we need to have these dates on a market by market basis. I know most of you have no idea what I'm talking about, but from the calculation for the relative volume, that 3rd of July needs to be filtered out. Yeah, it's free, but that's how he gets you roped into sending you all of his garbage. Plus, it's Renko. Plus, he stole from me. And wanted me to not call it like it was. Let's put a little volume profile on this thing. Yeah, so if any of you have his divergence, that was my 1.5 years worth of work that I put together for the first iteration of the divergence algorithm that I have, which is the only one that's actually built properly. And he just thought he would buy that from the guy that wrote it for me, that I paid to write it for a long time. Took forever. How's that saying go? And then wanted me to smile and essentially just take it. I just never dreamed that that would have possibly happened, but people are strange. Yep. So what I've got to see now, briefly, is a little sign of strength that we're seeing now. And then I want to see it come back. I want to get a little bit of divergence in here on the tick 1 and some of the faster charts. And I want it to end up right there. You're close, Frank. You're close. That's a different guy. Equally interesting. But whatever. I don't need to. I'm not trying to talk bad about people. I'm just I don't want people hurt. I don't want to be a part of anyone's being hurt or taken advantage of, or I don't know. I want to provide a useful service and set of tools that I've essentially built for myself that I couldn't afford to keep paying for the programming of. And do no harm, right? Don't tread on me. I won't tread on you. But more than that, treat people like you love them. And, you know, which is why when people will call me and want to try to buy something, I've got a few questions they need to answer. I hate to ask it, but how old are you? Do you have enough money saved up in your retirement that you can live? Are you a gambler? Have you had problems with gambling in the past? You know, have you already blown several accounts? Why did you do that? How did it happen? Is it something you think you can overcome because you have a lot of baggage that you've accrued over time? You've spent a lot of money on these things. It's going to be difficult for you to give them up because they have value to you because you paid so much money for them. So therefore, you're going to associate value with that, even though it's most likely 90% of it's all garbage. I'm potentially missing this right now, but I really wanted to catch this in front of you guys. I was trying to find one that looked the most likely to set up while I opened up and was starting. And this seemed to be the one. But anyway, back to what I was saying. It's not good to make ill-gotten gains, is it? I think we're all talking about two different people. It's interesting how those names always come up no matter what I talk about. Well, they're the two best marketers in the business, I'd say. And I'm the worst. No doubt about it. No comment anymore on other people. I don't want to talk about them. I just want to make sure that if you're gonna get into this, I still can't, like, some of the YouTube ads I see, I don't see how those guys aren't locked up for the things that they say. I mean, the CFTC has totally closed people down for 10 times less. I guess they got good lawyers and they know exactly what they can say and not say and get away with. You got to be a wordsmith, you know? But like some of these, whatchamacallit ads, like, whatever. I just don't see how they get away with it. If I went out and did an ad like that, oh my gosh, I'd lose all respect if I have any left. I hope I do. Even at the bottom of the volume cluster. Well, this is going to be one that's going to be setting up here directly. I don't know that it's going to win. Hi, computer. What's up? I got a guy logged in his computer and he says, "Hi, Dan." Hi. Is that your first name or your last name? I don't think you guys are talking to each other, but you're really not. You're just talking to me. There's a drop down there. Oh, okay. Sorry, William. I was thinking you were sneak attacking me. So in the chat in Zoom, there's send chat to, and you want to select all panelists and attendees if you want to talk amongst yourselves. Attendee can chat with, yeah, anyone. I don't care. At least I don't have any people that are calling me frauds. Praise the Lord. See how I did that? So each one of these groups, I can snap them around, bring them wherever I want. And here is the main toolbar. And this is the one right here that we're going to carry on with. So that's the 2-minute gold. That puts a little bit different perspective on it. And you can double click on the title and hide these. Yeah, that puts quite a bit different perspective on things. Wouldn't you know it? We had a long signal right at the low. That's rough. I think that's early though. That's actually an exit signal. Not sure why these are crisscrossed like they are, but they are. That's why it's going to take me a little while to go through all these. But yeah, that's an exit signal. I've got a good video. It's mostly edited. There's a few really dumb things that I say in there. I guess I don't know, guys. All I can do is laugh anymore. The things that I've had to deal with as of late, the past 3 months. Not to mention living in the Twilight Zone. If you guys remember that show, certainly you guys do. I was talking to somebody about it earlier, and they're like, "What? The what? What's the Twilight Zone?" It's like, oh wow. But yeah, it's been a rough few months. So this has turned into a trading room session. Therefore, I'm going to go for another half hour. And I'm going to catch this trade while you watch. Not to be misconstrued as investment advice. I am not a licensed investment advisor, nor am I a CTA certified commodities trading advisor. I am none of that. I really have no idea what I'm talking about or doing. But I have taken a couple acting classes and read a few books on technical analysis. So I think that qualifies me as a guru in this industry. So I've at least got that. All right, here we go. One more low, and I'm going to get into this. So what do I want to do? What should I therefore do? Maybe put an alert on it. If you want to put an alert on it. And then finish up with my smaller channels to find where that final area is going to be. Probably could have had a short there if I really went for it. It would have to come up to at least break that fourth wave high and okay, so here's what'll happen next. And if I'm right, then I'll buy the low. If we put in a low now within the next 3 minutes and we head back up to about 1783, I want to see it turn up and see if it's going to line up. I need it to pull back to about right here for it to line up with a flat upsloping channel, barely upsloping. The problem with that is that you have 1, 2, 3, almost 4. This is like one tick lower than that bar, but you've got a couple of bars to choose from. I suppose they are all the same price. 1.9, 1.9, 1.9, 1.9. Yeah, oh my gosh, they are. So you've got multiple bars in a row. Somebody's sitting there selling that limit. Yep, there's your 2-bar pattern of a low. See it? Climax followed by a churn bar. 2-bar pattern. We're putting in a low now. We'll have a slightly upsloping. It's not that slightly. I mean, it's still kind of a significant slope. But what do you do in this case? You choose the one in the middle, which is that one, right? And I'm torn between the wick, which is probably not the right one to use, but this is a 2-minute chart. I can't readily use a 1-minute chart. I've got to adjust a bunch of stuff if I do. Let me go ahead and get rid of this. And then we'll add our profile. No kidding, Ed. Yeah. Do you have a time constraint? Well, I'll be wrapping it up here in the next 15 minutes. All right, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to do this number here. If we come up, I might decide to take that short, but let's see what else I've got. This is really the main, this is the focal point of what I'm looking at. That's against the trade. The fact that we've broken through that is not the best sign. See, I'm thinking of this as a potential wave 1 up and then 2 down, but that 2 is taken well through Friday. It's the thing. Once a pattern has had enough time where people have relaxed, they've had the weekend to think about it. Just because there was a lot of momentum yesterday doesn't mean that that momentum is likely to keep on going today, if you know what I mean. Once there's been enough, time, breathing room, let's say, attitudes change, people's emotions have waned a little bit, they've calmed down, not nearly as excited. That's why you can see a lot of major moves just change on a dime right after the reopen of the weekend. Of course, there's always news that's affecting that, to be sure. That's the one I want. Yeah, see, this is not looking so hot. There we go. It is looking rather nice for some more down, though. And I've got a serious 1, 2, 3. So let's look at that. Yeah, see, we're just about to complete that third wave down. So, okay, here. Come on, you. I swear I'm using a version that's... I gotta figure out what he's doing. Whatever. Yep. I'm gonna go right up to there. And then I think we'll have ourselves a clear. One, two, three. and we'll do a 4 and a 5 down. So of that, I want my 3, 4. I want my wave 4 high to short and then catch that 5th wave down. That's what I'm thinking anyway. So as I export these are all going as screenshots to a server, but they're also going to everyone's charts that currently are members of the trading room only, but we're about to open that up to anyone that owns the toolbar. Hopefully July 20th will be the first soft open, and then the first week of August will be the full launch. I think I've scheduled that out appropriately according to the guys I'm working with. I'm sorry, the guys that are actually doing the web work. So when I hit that and I'm exporting it, it's going to a website, our website, to the forum, which looks like pretty rough right now. Hello, love. Who are you? All right. I see we haven't set up gold futures yet. Or have we? I believe we have. What do you know? No, it's not current. Gold is not an active one. We elected to do just crude oil. This is almost an exact same kind of a situation, just on a smaller scale as the last trade I took there in gold. But that's a 30-minute chart, and this is a 2-minute chart. But anyway, we're going to do crude, the ES, NASDAQ, YM, gold, and 6E. And just focus on the higher time frames down to the 10-minute and the tick 2 chart. And the faster ones will be up to you. But through what we'll do, you'll have quite a lot in the way of decision-making process already done for you. Doing all the heavy lifting. I would have to explain these signals to you fully. Tick 1 is showing the market geometry confluence. These longs, these green signals don't mean go long. They mean that you have enough areas coming together for a potential long if it were to set up properly and also confirm. Now we're getting a 2-bar pattern on the preceding 2-minute bar. That's very high relative volume on the 2-minute chart. Let's just see something. Is this going to be a moron trade? The whole idea was for me to get long at the low. And here I'm talking about getting short. And the only reason I'm saying that is because we just barely missed the areas for the long. We didn't get the divergence. I didn't get the volume divergence. I didn't get half of what I needed for the proper signal. I'm about to find out. Yeah, no, it's going to be quite something to have real deal analysis on your charts for you automatically. I have to have someone help me with it though, because I cannot do it alone. This is one I do not need that large of a stop on. That's for sure. Like a tidal wave of silver coins. That's exactly what I need right now. This is a fake money trade, by the way. There's my little market geometry confluence. Look at that beautiful 2-bar pattern on the tick one. Climax extreme churn. Okay, Charlie, hang on. I mess up his schedule. He gets all bent out of shape. I basically do whatever he says because he's got a mean bite. I'm shorting into this. All right, so this is the 30-minute chart that I was waiting for the long to set up on, and that is the long right there. It's quite lovely. When I add this to it, isn't it? Me being the genius that I am said, nah, scratch that. Let's go short. Honestly, though, for me to get into a trade like this, it's either going to end on a massive 2-bar pattern with no divergence anywhere, or it's going to have a strong swing down like this, not necessarily a 2-bar pattern, but an extreme spike in the volume, which is what that little triangle diamond object is. It's marking that very huge spike in volume. And then I need to see a sign of strength back up and then come back down, test the low on lower volume, at which point I would be waiting for the first sign of demand coming in from the low. So I think that's all actually going to happen. Otherwise, I wouldn't have taken it. It is rather ridiculous, though. This is the smallest trade that I would take ever. And the fact that I'm risking that much to make what would be just a simple break of the low is asinine. It's like I want to give it enough room to come up and double bottom, not double bottom, but uh, uh, how do I say that? Demand becomes supply, support becomes resistance, right? You got a low, you break through it, you pull back to it. So I'd like to allow at least for that, but you've got 3 swings there. This is the highest. So for that to be effective, or at least to allow for enough room without losing too much money, it would have to be upwards of 1784. And I'm really not expecting much more of a down move than where my targets are. This is totally atypical for me. See, you can't. All right, I'm going to fix that right now. Yeah, I've basically not done half of what I wanted to do, basically because of, well, I was going to say the shit show that is my life, but that would be rather crass and crude. So I'll say because I was so ill prepared, um, and there was no possible way that I would be able to make it through what I had planned to do, which would be to update all of these higher time frames. See, I would have had them done, and then we would go over them together, and that would be a wrap. It would be a perfect 60 minutes every Sunday. And that's the way it will be from now on. Now that I am supposedly virus free at the moment until, you know, Mr. Mr. What's his name? Hacks me again. But at least it's more difficult for him to hack me now. I think, I hope. Who knows? Who cares? Whatever. They already got what they came for. All right, let's do this. I did make a proper layout here. All right, let's go over here. I'm getting kind of tired and I got a lot of stuff to do. And I want to get these updates out. If possible. Let's go over the ES first and foremost. I got a feeling I'm going to have to work my way out of that gold trade without losing money. Thought for sure I saved that. Where is it? I think I've just found a bug. And it's because I saved those templates as I saved those buttons as templates. All right, yeah, I'm gonna stop talking now and just do this. This was meant to be an analysis uh, thing that we'll do, every week, every Sunday. But next week will be better. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Because I have saved these as templates, it's gone and essentially duplicated them after restarting. Okay, so that's an issue. So maybe I will wait until tomorrow for him to fix that one, because that's kind of a pain. All right, let me do this real quick. I'm going to clear. How do I do that? I want it to not use a template, so yeah, we don't have a button for that. Oh, I need a clear button. You write that down. Never imagined that would be an issue, but this would be the only button it would be an issue for. There we go. All right. Let's do crude. And let's do ES. Wish y'all could hear that cat right now. He's literally screaming like a child. A wild man. And let's do bonds. All right. So I'm going to start with bonds. Let me let this cat in before he breaks the door down. Hang on 1 second. This is getting crazy. Yeah, we're having him shaved tomorrow. I'm going to shave him bald just for being a turd. Yeah, we're going to get orderly around here, Todd. I'm responsible for that. We've had kind of a change of well, we've had some major changes around here lately over the past couple of months. Well, I guess we all have, haven't we? But structure wise, company wise, and we're still trying to get a footing. So I am doing this Sunday evening session every Sunday from 4 to 5. And it's something I'll be prepared for in the future. And it will end at the closing bell at the open on Sunday evening at 5 Central. So that closing bell will be the point at which I shut it down no matter what. However far uh, I'll be by that point will be the point at which we stop. But in fact, you'll have, as it'll be a recurring webinar open to the public, you'll have no need to sign up for it. We're going to have it simply as a link, probably on the homepage. It'll be on the YouTube page. It'll be on Twitter, Facebook, blah, blah, blah. And we'll also email it out with a recording from the previous one, likely every Tuesday. And then just a nudge on Friday. So these are bonds at the moment, and they're going into what looks like a triangle. That was a massive influx. This is something I've got to see on the weekly. Otherwise, it just does me no good. I'm not going to waste time on all that, but look at the move that we have had in bonds. This is unlike anything I've seen in ages. This is just incredible. Surprised I haven't looked at bonds lately. And that's the midline. It's finding support on. I'd say it's not done quite yet to the upside. That could be the high. But it looks to me more, well, let's see. Yep, it's perfect. Looks to me more like it's doing a triangle. So I'm afraid that's pretty much a perfect, excuse me, shouldn't say afraid, that's retarded, but that's a perfect 1, 2, 3, 4. See, that's where it all goes awry. I need to see further back. One, two, expanded flat, 3, 4, 5. All right. I'm gonna shut it down here in a moment anyway. That very well could be the high in bonds. If it's not, and we're doing a triangle, then that triangle is this. Probably coming down a little bit more, and then D. Could be the D's already in, but probably not. And then E. And then after that point, we would have one last push up, and that would be the high. I don't think I've seen bonds this high ever. Can't remember a time. This is ridiculous. Bear with me. Because if we're at the top of that upsloping channel, then the high is probably in. Oh, that's all the data I get. Oh. Well, thank you, Kinetic. Oh my. It's fairly interesting, isn't it? Bonds are a little difficult to apply the wave theory to. I mean, it's, wave theory is just something we use as a roadmap, if you will. I know a lot of the guys that are involved in the development of it would like to say that it's, the strictness of the rules. I don't want to say the wrong thing here, but I don't know. It's a little bit over. It's basically he's done with Elliott Wave what I've done with market geometry and volume analysis, and made it overly complicated and quite rigid and strict. But over time, you learn to kind of relax the rules a little bit, because the stricter you make them, the worse your results will be. You have to leave some room for discretion. That's a very fine line to toe. And if you leave too much, well, then you've got nothing to measure your results by, and you'll invariably just end up blowing up that account. So you have to have some discretion, but not so much that you just chalk up every flippant entry that you've manufactured to, oh, well, that was just my discretion. So you've it's a difficult thing to describe. You've got to be strict enough to measure your performance, but not so strict that you pigeonhole yourself into a box that you never let yourself out of long enough to take a winning trade, and you just watch the markets all day because they don't meet your quote unquote perfect setup rules. That's a hell of a beautiful low. Look at the size of that extreme churn bar at the low in bonds. That's what you call anticipatory trading. Those are the people that actually created that low. That's the Federal Reserve. What am I talking about? So I would see going back up and tagging the top of that channel one more time. I don't see that coinciding with a new low in the stock market, though. I do see it coinciding with a big wave 2 down in the stock market, and then after that going right back up. But I'm not looking for some massive sell-off for the rest of our lives in the stock markets like everybody else seems to be thinking. I think maybe one more big push in bonds when we see the next big sell-off, which undoubtedly will happen because of the news, I suppose. And seems like the news kind of governs social mood and sentiment. They figured that one out for sure. But once old Biden gets elected, I hate to say it, they'll change it. And they'll say, see, just had to get rid of the old monster. Now things are back to normal. It's just a revolving door of swamp creatures, really. No matter what they say. Isn't it sad but true? I hope so. Things are a little mysterious right now, though, aren't they? This is what you call a perfect fourth wave low. I hope somebody managed to get that. You only had until what? 10 o'clock trading yesterday or Friday. You came right back inside of the previous fourth wave, barely. I wouldn't say barely, but it came. Is that the midpoint? If that's the midpoint, then that's exactly what we look for. Oh my gosh, it's almost perfectly to the tick, the midpoint. Huh. Well, that's pretty cool. So, yep, that's about a perfect fourth wave, out of which we're going straight up. Remember, I said, I say it every holiday. They'll use the holiday to put in the major turning point because it's the easiest day to manipulate volume. And so it was. So that's either a big 1-2 up, or we're doing again another extended, very crazy looking triangle. Or just a simple, this is 1 down and 2 back up. But the movement up and out of that is so fast. That's a tick chart though. So it looks faster than it really is. Yeah, that looks like a pretty easy move to the top of that channel. 33.20. At which point you won't be too far from the high. So if it just ticks out the high and then turns down, I'd say we're going down in a strong 5-wave move down that will complete a giant corrective wave. And then that'll be the point at which bonds turn up with a quickness. And then probably make it to a new high as the market nosedives for a bit, looking like it's going into a new low, but I really don't think it will. I mean, unless the hospitals actually do become overrun with new patients and people aren't allowed to leave their states and do commerce like normal, then it's going to get, pretty dire social mood, which is really what drives the buying and selling of stuff. How people feel about the future and how much money they're making. The only reason I say I'm not expecting a major new low in the markets is because this is all so manufactured that it's just unreal, hard to imagine how this is going to play out. It's just so very odd. And I'm still trying to wrap my mind around what the hell is actually going on. I'm actually tired of thinking about it. I don't want to think about it anymore, but it's kind of my job to. And it's incredibly debilitating. I can't watch the news anymore. All they want to do is just talk about what somebody should have done or could have done, or, you know, I, I can't watch anymore. It's just totally insane. I got little 15-year-old white kids standing down the corner holding up Black Lives Matter. And then they open up, they fold it open and it says F you, Trump. Um, it's like, what the hell is going on in the world? I don't know. Of course they matter. All live, all of us matter. But then again, I do have to agree that I've seen it happen, which is anecdotal, so it's meaningless really. But no, I've seen cops be pretty unfair, you know. But then again, I've also been picked up, beaten up by 4 or 5 of them, and dropped off on the side of the road to walk home. So, you know, it's not like I had it much better. Worked my ass off from the day I was 8 years old, every single day after school, all day, every day, 10 hours a day in the summertime. Had to, forced to. Child labor, sweatshop. Do that or don't eat. So I don't know what I'm even saying now. I'm just talking in circles, but it's getting as odd as they want it to be on the news. Yep, I'm out of here. I'm gonna get the installer wrapped up here tonight, and I don't know if this was served any purpose whatsoever, but at least I got to show you a couple of things that probably made no sense. The tools have come into their own. They're working lovely now, which is such a relief. I was literally about to go out of my mind and bringing all this together, but it's finally there. I think the rewrite of the volume analyst next is going to kick us into the upper atmosphere, where we're either going to starve from oxygen deprivation or uh, make billions and billions and trillions. Hopefully the latter. Yep. Very chaotic as usual, but next presentation, Daniel will have his act together and have everything predefined, ready to go, and even have hotkeys for changing screens. Let's see how the old gold is doing before we shut it down. It's probably the strangest live tube YouTube has ever seen. I'm sure they'll know not quite what to make of it. Should we take this one off? What do we do with this? This guy is weird. Maybe we should just leave it up. Oh, well. Well, I got a solid 3 ticks out of it. Do it. Call me in 5. Somebody else was going to call me. Whoever else it was, call me in 35. I'm going to bust these installers out. To be quite frank with you, it's not going to come tonight because I've identified a bug that is once you start using the window manager, it's probably going to make you bang your head against the wall and think that you don't know how it works, you haven't figured it out, and it's not working right. The template system just needs a couple of small changes, so I'm going to write those up tonight. He'll have them done by the time I wake up, and then I'll have everything ready to go. I'm going to go through the workspaces, make sure they're all good to go. The last thing I'll do will be to make a few varying sets of templates for the window manager, not with anything saved in them. But see, we need a clear button. I need a clear settings button that we don't have. And then there's some funny business going on here with the properties that need to be looked at, but it's going out tomorrow. That's normally when you should put an update out anyhow, is on a Monday. Last thing you want to do is put it out on a Friday and then have everybody totally PO'd over the weekend, you know? But be that as it may, there are a few of you that I'll send it to in zip format if you want to get started. If you'll promise me to bug hunt. And don't write in saying this doesn't work. I need screenshots, examples, trace files. How do I reproduce it? Not a one-liner that says, hey, doesn't work. Okay. So if that's you, text me and I'll send you the zip with a little video. I can make that video in less than 5 minutes. Cool beans. All right. I've got about 100 questions here. Just go ahead and throw them at me again if you would. Which ones have I not answered? Yeah, the scheduling of this is going to be recurring every Sunday, so that'll work itself out, and it'll come as you want it. And Daniel needs to download VMware Workstation Pro 15.5.6. Not from File Hippo. My Lord, all the virus stations we have. I see all these. Every single one of these is a virus. And it even has a little check mark by it. I'm starting to think that Bitdefender is part of my problem. Anybody know where they're located? Yeah, that's right, Joseph. You got my phone number? I want to do 30%. That's kind of what I'm thinking. Where is it made out of? Eastern Europe? Not that there's anything wrong with Eastern Europe. Beautiful women. Sounds about right. Yes, yes. Probably the single coolest company on the planet, these guys. Bet nobody had any idea how big they would get. This is the way to do it here. So if you're buying one of these multi-core processors, which I imagine most of you will and have done, order failed. Allot 4 cores at whatever speed and run you this VMware for 150 bucks for life, and put all of the programs that you use or would like to use that you're using on a different computer, put it on the same computer as your trading computer, and keep all of it separate from your main rig, so that you have one environment, which is the main environment, C drive, for your trading computer. And then you've got your virtual machine that takes up 2 to 4 cores for all of your little apps, like, whatever drawing programs you've got, if you do that sort of thing, or games or whatever. But this is the one right here. This is the easiest one to set up and get going. And it pays for itself in about a day. What was your question? Where is it? Lilu. Oh, what is Lilu? No, man, I'm sorry. There's no way that, but I've been dealing with William. For me to have even told you that today was possible was the yes man coming out in me, and just being a total idiot. Yeah, I can barely keep up with myself. Obnoxious I've become. How did you pass it that fast? Goodness gracious, man. So you made enough money just in the past 2 weeks to pass there what is effectively the combine. Holy mackerel. Okay, Brett. That's well done job, sir. Huh. Proud of you, man. Yeah, we'll talk tomorrow, huh? Yeah, for sure. I need to get you, Ed, Bo, Tim, a couple of other guys together and just show what, it's one thing to show what I've done, but then to show what guys that have bought the stuff and learn that they've done, that would be something awesome for people to see. Heck yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll respond to you. I've had my phone off most of the weekend, but yeah, I'll definitely get up with you. We'll call midday tomorrow. You working all day? What's going on with that? Is it possible to raise your mic volume so it's closer to your computer alert sounds? Oh, I think my boom is busted. You're blown out by my alerts. Are you talking about the alerts that are coming through my Ninja Trader? Ah, yeah, call me tomorrow. All right, buddy. Have a good one. Yeah, that should be, there's a setting for that. I've got to disable PC sounds. Yep, I can do that. Remember, no trading room tomorrow. Daniel's working on training course material. Well, and the update first and foremost. But yeah, I'm still going to do some exports in the morning because it's part of what I have to do to kind of, well, it's whatever. I'll talk to you guys later. Goodness gracious. I'm going to hang up before I sound even more like an idiot. Bye, y'all. If I didn't get your question, email us to support@tradetheplan.com. Gracias.